Thank you, Ella, for joining me. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your food blogging journey?
Yeah, so I'm Ella from the blog Alpine Ella. I started it in July 2020. I'm not sure if you're aware, but some people had a lot more free time back then in 2020.
Yep.
I had always wanted to do a food blog. I'd actually started one in 2015, and then I got too, I don't want to say like embarrassed, well, maybe embarrassed. I was just too shy to tell people what I was working on and using social media. And then from 2015 to 2020, so much had changed. There's a lot more um, like videos, tutorials, and courses online to help with like setting up a blog, doing recipe development, doing photos and then videos. So yeah, I started 2020, and then I went full time in 2022. So it took me about 18 months. And that was right when I also went onto Mediavine. So it just happened to be at the same time that I quit my corporate job, which was good timing.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
I've been
awesome.
doing it full time ever since. Oh, and it's all about making easy baking recipes that are like indulgent, but they're actually quite simple to make. And my main goal is for people to make these recipes. They bring it to a party, they have people over, and then someone goes, "Oh my God, did you make that?" And you can feel really smug. Smugness is like key to alpha.
That's why you do half marathons and bake.
Exactly. What's the point if you're not going to be smug about it? Even in internal smugness.
Yeah. I think my favorite recipe of yours would be the Matilda cake because that was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Oh, me too. I love just like thinking about these old movies like Matilda. What was the other one? That Hook. Do you remember Hook? The movie with Robin Williams where he's Peter Pan. He's like grown up Peter Pan.
I don't know
I
if I
just
ever
loved
watched
like
it.
oh, there's great food scenes in that. I just love the
Okay.
food scenes from like old movies. Um, but yeah, everyone else was like, "Oh, that Matilda cake is so gross in the movie." I was like, "I would love to eat that. Are you kidding me?"
I would totally smash my face into that.
Yeah. And that's one of my most popular recipes as well, like across social and on Google. People love Matilda's cake.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. What would you say has been like your biggest win and also your biggest struggle like along your journey?
I think getting into Mediavine like relatively quickly, that was a huge win for me. And like I said, it happened at the same time that I just handed in my notice for work. So it made me feel like, okay, I am on the right path. Biggest struggle, probably not having any colleagues. I am very introverted. I like a lot of alone time.
Same.
So when I left my office, I was like, yay, see ya, people. I don't have to deal with you anymore. But it turns out I actually really do enjoy speaking to people, especially people who are like maybe struggling with the same thing as me. And I also love a little bit of office gossip. So that I really miss that. It's a bit more isolating, and sometimes that can cause me to like compare myself to other food bloggers, which is another struggle.
Yeah, definitely. I go through that too, and I think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where would you say you were at before you joined the coaching program?
I was feeling a little bit negative. Like I said, I was feeling more isolated, didn't have any colleagues. Um, and I just kept thinking, like, am I doing the right things with my blog? Like, am I making the right moves, um, making the right decisions? And I felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to about that. Like I do have some, I'm really lucky. I have a couple of really good food blogging friends, but there are sometimes also like I don't know either. Um, so I was just feeling a bit like in a negative headspace and kind of like, oh, I'm maybe not as far along as I would like to be. Um, yeah, so not in a great headspace.
Yeah, it's it definitely like ebbs and flows. Like I feel like food blogging
Yeah,
is a roller coaster, especially like you gotta have a strong mental game,
a
and like
hundred
having
percent.
that support around you is really important.
Yeah.
What made you decide to join the group coaching program?
I had thought about it a few times. I'd even contacted you to talk about it because I wasn't sure if it was the right thing for me. And I think it was leading up to Black Friday, and you guys, you were doing like a special where you like donated. to a food bank, and I was just
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm gonna do this. There was just something about it that made me be like, this just aligns with my own beliefs. I must have seen maybe someone else post about it in stories, and then I had contacted But First We Brunch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Cynthia.
And I had messaged her, and she was just singing your praises. And I think all that combined, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this for like a month or two, and I'll see how it goes because I feel like I'm in a bit of a funk.
I know we talked a little bit, but like, were you kind of, was there anything specific that you were hesitant about when you were thinking of joining?
I was thinking, is this more for like beginner bloggers maybe? I feel like I'm at this weird stage where I'm not a beginner, but I'm maybe not as like, I don't want to say advanced, but I maybe don't have as much traffic as I would like to have. So,
Mhm.
I see on different Facebook groups, people are like, oh, I'm doing a mastermind. You have to have like 1 million page views a month to join. And I was like, well, that's not me. But then I also felt like if there's some other content for more beginner bloggers, which is really useful for them. But I was like, well, that's also not for me. I'm in this like murky in between stage where I'm not sure what to do and I'm not sure who to speak to.
Mhm. Yeah. So
What was the
did you,
question?
what?
I already forgot. Where was I going with this? What was the question? Oh yeah, I
Things
thought
you were
it was
hesitant
more
about.
maybe for beginners. So I was like, oh, is this going to be the right fit for me? But then I think looking at some of the people who were part of it, I just thought, okay, what do I have to lose for like a month or two? And my husband Will was like, just try it and see how it goes.
Mhm. Were you happy with that decision?
He's so happy with that decision. Um, right away, you guys had just done a tutorial for making a holiday ebook, and as you know, it rocked my world. I love homework. I love being able to like implement something really quickly with like just step-by-step instructions. So I remember just seeing that and already thinking, I feel like I've got my money's worth for the month because now I know how to do something that I was really struggling with and I had put off for years. I'd been meaning to do this for years, a holiday ebook, which is so, and it took no time. Like within less than an hour, I was already done. So I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, why didn't I join this earlier? So yes, very happy with my decision.
Good. Yeah, I was so impressed by how quickly you implemented that. I think it was like within a few days or something.
Yeah,
I like checked and
yeah.
saw it was already on your site. I was like, wow, she's fast.
I was just, yeah, so happy with that. I'm excited to do some more this year of a holiday ebook. Just very satisfying.
So what would you say like you enjoyed the most about being in the group?
Um, I think, like I was saying before, not having any colleagues was actually harder than I expected. So having people who are in the same boat as me every week to chat to was really wonderful. Because it's difficult to speak to my friends outside of food blogging about, maybe a new Google update or trying to figure something out with your mailing list. And they're kind of like, what? Um, so it's really nice to talk to people who understand what you're talking about and when something is serious or not so serious. And it's just such a lovely group of people. Everyone is so kind. And, everyone would like then follow you on Instagram and comment on things. And it just felt like a really nice community. I thought that was great. The other thing that I really loved, like I said, having these tutorials and past talks, I could just go back if I had a question, if I was thinking about something. I felt like I could just go and search for it, and most of the time it was already there. So it was kind of like an encyclopedia of blogging knowledge.
God, I'm glad you found all of that helpful. And yeah, the community is just really special, and that's what I'm most proud of because everyone's just so supportive and like willing to share and help out and like
Yeah,
just support each other.
yeah, that's really great. Yeah, you should be proud of what you've built. It's really, really lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, we loved having you in it. um, what's like one thing that you took away that you still use or come back to today? So
I
you were with
love,
us for about like 5 months, right?
I think like six,
Six.
six
Okay.
months. Um, I loved doing, there was the yearly review we did, and then kind of like a smaller version of that is a CEO day, which is going through metrics. That is something I'd spoken about in calls before, is I really love the creative part. I want to be more type A and be like really organized and doing numbers and charts, but it ain't me, unfortunately. Or not as me as I'd like, as much as I'd like. And like I'd said, I joined when I was feeling like, oh, I'm not as far as I thought I was. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should like do something else. And then I'd think about an office job, and I was like, oh God, I can't. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. But I was feeling really negative about my website. And then we did in January that yearly review, and I was like, I'm actually doing great. What am I talking about? Like compared to the year before, that was so great. And now every month, I mean, it's only been like a month or two since I've left, but I'm still doing the CEO days.
Good.
Yeah, and using that whole framework that you guys have. And it just makes me feel a lot better. I see a lot of doom and gloom right now in the Facebook groups, and I can understand because, AI and Google search changing, and it doesn't help that it's summer, which for me, less people are baking. Um,
Same.
but I don't feel that nervous, knock on wood, because I'm looking at that CEO sheet that I fill in every month, and I'm like, no, I'm doing great, so it's fine, just keep going. Yeah.
Good.
So
Yeah, I
you're
remember
helping
you.
a little bit type A, so thank you.
Rubbing off on you a little bit. Good. Yeah, I remember you commenting and saying like I was feeling really down and like I wasn't growing, but then I actually looked at the data and was like, on paper, I actually am doing really well.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome. Good. I'm glad you still use that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, there's a lot of different things that you guys have built that I'm just still using because it's useful.
good. Yeah, that's the goal. And then, like, what other ways would you say that it's helped you grow, like professionally or personally?
I think I still get into the mindset because there were some mindset calls that you guys did before I joined, but I then like watched them. Um, I do feel like my mindset has changed a bit. I've had another friend, a food blogging friend, who is just feeling worried, and I was just like, I didn't say this to her, but I'm thinking I don't feel that worried because that isn't going to help me.
Hmm.
That's really not going to help me. So just taking a lot of the mindset things that you guys have spoken about, like obviously every day isn't perfect, and like you said, it really ebbs and flows. It's a real roller coaster. But I do feel a bit more stable about the whole thing, which is great.
Hmm.
Um, or what else? I don't know. Now I can't think. I'm so sorry.
No, no, that's great. Yeah, I think that's like really important because if you're in that like fear mindset all the
Yeah.
time and like giving into all these Google changes and letting them upset you, that's like you're not going to make good decisions. You're not going to
Yeah.
be able to get work done and like have the energy and stuff. So, yeah.
And then I also think like just taking more action. I feel like that's something that you guys do a lot. Like I see that still with, I'm still subscribed to your email, the blogging bites, which I love. Um, and it seems like you just take a lot of action, and that's what I felt like the calls were like. We always had like, okay, now you're gonna go do this. So for example, like today I spent about an hour planning out Facebook content for the next week. And it's like that is again something that I'd thought about for so long, like I should do this, I should do this. I did it last week. Oh, it went well. So guess what? Now I'm just gonna keep doing it on Fridays. And I felt like it could have been like the ebook where I just never ever do it. And then in 2 years' time, I'm like, oh, why didn't I start that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Go getter attitude. That's what you
Good.
guys.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like we're
Yeah.
always trying to get people to like ask questions and take action on it right away because
Yeah,
that's what's going to move the needle, not just like ruminating about it in your head.
exactly. I'm like, well, if I want things to change, I actually have to do things. I can't
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
sit here and be sad.
Yeah, and like that's how you gain confidence in what you're doing too. It's like
Yeah,
you got to practice and get the data.
yeah. Yes, the data. So I was looking at my Facebook content from this week. I was like, okay, so what did well? I just need to keep doing that type of content.
Hmm. Good. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been having success with Facebook lately, so that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So, and then Were you able to make time for the calls every week and like implement stuff? Like how much time would you say you probably spent each week?
Yeah, the only times I think I didn't go to the calls was when I was away, like literally on vacation. And maybe one other time, and I thought, oh, I don't think this really relates to me. I can't remember what it was. But the few times I did miss, I would just catch up on it afterwards. It really isn't that much time in the grand scheme of things. I think it helped for me that it was at the end of my workday,
Yeah.
being in London. So it was actually quite nice to be like, okay, my day ends with this call. Like I have to finish up by this time because I will be online. And then in terms of like the work that you guys gave, it never, I mean, work as if you didn't have a gun to our head. You weren't making us do it. But it really, I mean, honestly, like maybe an hour. Sometimes like something like the ebook, especially because that was my first week, that probably took a bit longer. But it really wasn't a huge chunk of my week, my working week. But it was things that made a difference.
Yeah, good.
And if anything, it saved time because then when I was looking for an answer to something, instead of like going through Facebook groups and Google and Reddit, I was like, oh, let me just see if someone's already asked this question.
Yeah, did you find it was pretty easy to search through and find things in the
Yeah,
community?
yeah.
And then who do you think would be like a great fit for this program or maybe not a fit?
I do think, like I know I was saying before, oh, is it more for beginners? I still think this would be good for beginners. It might actually feel a bit like intimidating because there is like so much information. And if you're not used to wearing so many hats as a food blogger, it would be like, oh, where do I start? But I think for people like me who are more like in this middle stage of growth, or maybe they've plateaued with growth, it would be really great because you're getting to talk to other people. So you don't feel like you're going insane with the questions and ideas that you have or thinking, is it just me who's maybe stuck at this traffic or this amount of money? That was really helpful. Um, everyone. This is good for everyone. Community for everyone. Note
Yeah.
that down. Make that my little title card.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, not super beginner because, like, you got to know that you're going to stick with it and you enjoy
Yes,
blogging and
yeah, that
everything.
too. Like, I think if I had, in the nicest way possible, if there were people every week in the class, I was like, how do I start WordPress? I'd be like, I'm not joining today.
Yeah.
Way too long. But I think it's maybe people who are advanced beginner, intermediate, then that's really helpful because when people are asking questions, you're like, oh, great, I'm learning from this because I had this question. Maybe I didn't even realize I had this question, or maybe I felt like too shy to ask. I don't know. So, yeah, in that middle section.
Yeah. Did you ever feel too shy or like uncomfortable asking questions?
The only time that I wouldn't ask is I was never sure if someone was gonna, like two people start talking at once and you're like, oh, oh,
Yeah.
I mean, how can you, other than, I don't know, is there an option to like raise your hand? I don't know.
I think there is,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, that's the only time that I was just like, oh, my question maybe doesn't feel important enough to like butt in. Um, but no, no, I don't
Okay.
feel, you know,
Yeah, we always try to leave room for like all the questions, but I know like I also don't like to interrupt people, so
yeah, yeah.
I
And I'm
feel the
like,
same
are
way.
they pausing or are they done? Can I say
Yeah, it's like, are
something?
they going to ask the same thing I'm about to ask?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the only time. I'm usually like in person. Pretty shy, pretty shy. But
Same.
on this, I was like, you know what? I'm paying for this, so I'm gonna ask
Yeah,
some
good.
questions.
Yeah, we definitely encourage the questions, like want you guys to get the feedback, like
Yeah,
especially as personalized as it can be, because like we want to get to
yeah,
know you and your specific situation so that we can give you like very specific advice.
yeah. Like I remember when
And
this is not really that related. You did like a video, it was like a Loom video when I first joined of some of my posts. That was wonderful. 10 out of 10. I was like,
good.
what is this? I guess that's another thing. I didn't realize how personalized this would be. I think I maybe, I don't know. I think I'd said too, I thought it might be more us. like everyone having to talk. I guess like that's what a mastermind's like. I've never been in one. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not presenting anything. That's awful. But that's not the case. And the information that you're giving is actually so personalized that, again, I was able to implement the stuff that you and Chris had suggested.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was like, wow, she's fast because you implemented that stuff like within a day.
I was like, if I don't do it now, what if I forget? That'll be really annoying. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah, I love doing those Loom videos.
It was very satisfying. I couldn't believe it when I got that link. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm always like, is this gonna be like overwhelming or too much? But like, I love the visual and just like going through and showing my thought process 'cause I feel like that's really
Yeah,
helpful.
it's incredibly helpful. Like, I'm sure that takes up a lot of your time, but I was like, wow, this is great.
Good, I'm glad. Awesome. Is there anything that you like learned in the program that you think would be helpful to a food blogger who's maybe watching this right now?
When you say that, like, do you mean like actual tips or do you mean like what do you mean?
Yeah, like literally anything that you were like, wow, this is really helpful. This has changed the way I think about it or the way I strategize or like implement anything that you think would be helpful to a food blogger like right now.
I mean, you guys taught me so much. Why can't I'm just like trying to find something that sounds really wise and good, and I'm just like, oh no. Hmm. Community is, we harp on and on about how important community is for our own brands, right? The Broken Oven Baking community, the Alpine Ella community, but actually your own community is just as important because otherwise you will lose your mind. Or you'll just be, anxious and nervous and worried. Um, so having like an actual community of food bloggers was much more important than I thought. Um, and that is something that I miss is like being part of that because it's just great to chat to people in the same boat as you or in a slightly different boat and they can give you different ideas and perspectives. So that's a lot more important than I realized. As much as like as fun as it is being like self-employed, work by myself, I'm my own boss, it is nice to have like people who are doing the same thing and going through the same struggles and wins.
Yeah, like having those people to celebrate with who like actually understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff you'll say to someone who doesn't have a blog, they're just like, pardon?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Oh, this is actually a huge deal. So,
Yeah, and like just having those people to talk to and kind of gain confidence and understand like, okay, I'm
yeah,
actually doing this right, or oh, this is a new way that I could be doing it that could work even better for me. And like that's kind of
exactly.
like my favorite part of coaching is like seeing the like kind of like personal transformation of growth,
Yeah.
like with just like gaining the confidence in yourself and what you're doing. Because I feel like so many food bloggers are afraid to put themselves out there or afraid that they're doing
Yeah.
something wrong. And it's like, you're doing great. You're
Yeah.
doing better than you think.
And then also,
And
like, you
like,
don't know what you don't know. So sometimes people would ask questions, or there would be a call that I would think, if it's a question, maybe I would have never thought of that, and that's actually really helpful. And there was a few topics that came up. Trying to think, it was like one of the last ones that I joined, and I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, I don't think this is that relevant to me, but I'll listen. And then I was like, oh, actually, this is amazing and has been so helpful. And it had to do with something that I was going through that day, I think with Facebook. Um, and it just made me feel 100 times better. And I was like, oh, if I hadn't listened to this, I wouldn't feel so much better. I'd still be worried and anxious about Facebook.
wait, yeah, didn't your Facebook get like shut down?
Freedom, yeah.
It's back.
That's
Oh, I
not
didn't even
true.
think of that.
Yeah, I think that was when I'd gotten put in jail. Put in jail. Well, they actually told me that they deleted my page for
Yeah,
fraudulent claims. I think it's because I said free recipe. I think it's because I said free.
how dare you?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was having a drama day with Facebook, and then you guys had a talk. I have the notes somewhere on my laptop, and it was just, I was like, this is kind of the perfect time. Maybe it was like, don't be such a diva, everything works out. I don't know. You guys said something like that, and it made me feel better.
We'll add that quote for our next mindset call. Don't be such a diva, it'll work out. That's
We
good.
need to get that as merch. Yeah.
Yeah, new hats.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Like, don't be such a diva, and then on the back it'll work out. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
we'll collab. No. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
No, if you are on the fence about joining this group, just do it. It's fabulous. Everyone is so nice. I learned so much. I still have so many notes to go through. Um, Literally every week there's something that you guys taught me or that we went through that I use in my business. Just do it.
Thanks for that encouragement. Yeah, I appreciate you hopping on and sharing all of this. It's very helpful. But it
Of
was just great
course.
chatting with you.